All right, we're starting to see some people. Hello, everyone. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes, but good to see you. Feel free to say hi in the chat. I'm in there, and we'll have Santi here, and then
Hi
Daniel will
guys.
be in soon as well. So this is going to be a good one. I'm excited. The build's changed a lot since the last time we did one of these. So this is as close as we're going to get. This will probably be the last one we do before we actually release the alpha on January 10th. So you guys are seeing the developer version of the build, but it still has a couple little bugs in it. But I'm excited. You guys are going to get to see some stuff that we haven't shown before, and lots of cool stuff coming. So hopefully you guys will be as excited about it as we are. Because it's been a crazy couple weeks, but we've been grinding, and it's been good. I know everybody's ready to celebrate the holidays with their families and take a little breather. And this Friday has been our last push, so we're all scrambling a little bit. We had our end of year team call today, which is awesome because we don't always all get on calls together, and seeing the team and everyone around the world. And I think we had about 30 people on the call today, and just talking to everybody was really cool. So hey Dogma Cats, how's it going? I see Laura. Who else is here? If you're here, say hi in the chat, and we'll say hi. It says show us the game updates. Yeah, I'm excited. This is it's come a long way. There's some cool stuff that we haven't even mentioned in some of the past calls that we're gonna get to show. So hey Mart. Yes, who else we got? I see we got a few. I think there's more than 3 people. Cool. So we're also recording this. So I know a lot of people middle of the day on a Friday can't, at least for us in the US, it's middle of the day. So I know a lot of people can't make it, but we'll have this recorded. So do feel free to represent those of you who are here and ask questions if you want. I know the rest of the community will appreciate it when they watch. So if you have questions as we're going through, happy to answer whatever you got. That's why we're here. But
feel free to ask whatever you want, I think. Especially art related if you want as well. Because I'm here as well, so I would love to answer questions about that as well.
For sure. I might even ask you some questions because there's some super cool stuff that we've implemented, and I still don't fully understand how it's done. So really cool. It'll be cool to hear some of your thoughts on that. Yeah, why don't we jump in? And Santi's playing on my account today, so it's he'll be running the sticks, and we'll be watching maybe my favorite avatar that I have in the game. And we could start with that. We could just show the new room. And so yeah, so I think last time, this is the first time you guys are seeing the printing room. So those of you who have been paying attention in the past, the bio printer is the way that these avatars come to be. And so this printing room is where your avatar will begin in the outskirts, and then will from here you go out to the outskirts. And yeah, so we've one thing that you guys are going to see in the next couple weeks is that we've been doing updates to all of the avatar bodies. So this is the new knight. It has a Spartan headgear, but if you see, there's a lot more details now on the actual armor, and there's a bunch of other little things. You can see Aurora now, twitching around on the avatar's back, kind of hovering above where the weapon goes. But yeah, it's cool. We've got all the stuff that we've been talking about now is in terms of some of these things we've been teasing. So yeah, Santi, why don't you take them outside, and we'll go kick some Shizoku ass.
Sure.
This way. I love that.
So something cool is that I know that we talked about this a bunch, but something cool is that every single time that you play the game, the maps are generated in place. So that means that every single gameplay, every single time that you play, is going to be a completely different experience, which I love because you're going to replay and replay this game because it's a roguelike, and that's going to help for you to have fun every time that you play and have a different experience.
Yeah, so that is definitely a big part of the design, that we, it has this kind of mix between an RPG and more of like an arcadey feel. I think the roguelike is a really interesting, we've kind of talked about this a little bit in the past, the roguelike's a really interesting mechanism that that allows us to kind of develop as we go and to kind of create this game that progressively gets deeper and deeper. And so we're actually developing it the same way. So right now you're kind of in the Shizuku territory, but there's 2 other gangs, and then there's going to be the DOF territory on the roadmap. So, after Senti just cast the heat wave ability, which is a good one. Once you get past this gang, eventually you'll fight the next gang, and the next gang with the DOF kind of interspersed within. And so one cool thing that we've done, and maybe Senti, you can talk a little bit about the scenery and the propaganda, which I think is a pretty cool thing that got added since the last time that we showed this.
Yes, for sure. So I think I talked about this before as well, but something crucial for us was to keep in mind like little details and make sure that we told stories through the scenery. And one big aspect of that being that our universe, our dystopian universe, is a sort of controlled by the regime that is the DOF. We wanted to make sure that the propaganda and the vocabulary that we have in there talked a little bit about that. So we took a ton of inspiration from everything from the USSR to Nazi Germany to all these regimes and dystopian regimes that use propaganda as a tool to sort of control people. And we used a ton of Midjourney creating this, so I know that there's a big dispute about whether that's hard or not, but for an indie game team like us, I think it's a great tool to create super high-end content and do it in a quick manner, and otherwise it wouldn't be possible for us to create something of this caliber. So I think for a team like us, it makes a ton of sense to use a tool like Midjourney.
All right, so let me answer one of the questions and then just take them through what they just saw. So the question, if there's going to be interactive environments. So in this version, the answer is yes, but certain things that we place, right? So we've got these boosting stations, I think are boosters that Senti hit one of them before, which gave him a health boost, and those are interactive. There's also, you might see later, the drone, there's the DOF drone has an interactive station where you have to actually interact with it in order to shut it down, which is a little bit of alpha. Some people are going to have to figure out that for themselves. But yeah, and so what we just got at the end of the level, these are what we're calling boosts or upgrades. And when you go then, so like if you look on the right side of the UI, what the upgrade that Senti got was a shield upgrade. So now his maximum shield is increased by 15%. And so at the end of every level, there's 3 doors, and you can choose which upgrade you're going to get at the end of the level. So the one he's looking at right now is health, and then there's the movement speed and the attack speed. I have to remember that we're on a little bit of a delay, but yes, you've got the movement speed and the attack speed upgrades here. And so depending on which door Senti chooses, it's going to then give him that upgrade if he beats the next sector, which is the next essentially sector of the outskirts. So he chose the movement speed one. So now when he goes through, now if you want to pause there for a second, this
sorry.
is kind of it's okay. I think we could kind of see it. So at the end of that, and we'll see it after the next level, but at the end of that sector is when you find out like what you looted for that sector. So you'll see that Santi got some energy, which is the resource that you can spend to heal within each run. And then also got a training point, I think, which is what you use. Right now we've got the developer mode, so Santi's got lots of training points. But in the game, training points will be very important because that's what allows you training data. That's what allows you to upgrade your avatar's abilities. So this, another thing, maybe you could bring them out into the light, some of these enemies, get into a spot
I'm going
where
to lure a ton of them, so we can see them.
I want to show, so the last time we played, it was all, I think, one enemy. And so one of the really cool things we did, and Santi can explain kind of the details of it, but one of the things we did was we took kind of everything we learned about programmatically generating 3D avatars, and we applied that to these enemies. And so now there's different features of each enemy that change depending on which enemy it is. So every enemy, not every enemy is unique, but in a pack, every enemy will have differences. And that's going to kind of, with your brain, right, create this feeling that you're not just fighting robots, that you're actually fighting a pack of enemies. Though they share a lot of similarities, they're different. And we're going to continue to iterate on that and see. So yeah, so 8Mo, I see. Oh, sorry. I'll answer your question after, Mark. But yeah, definitely expand upon that, Santi.
Yeah, so those last two characters that I killed were actually the same character in terms of they had the same abilities, the same weapon, and they are the same gang member, let's call them. But the difference is that they had different features. So similar to what happened with the Legionnaires, we sort of have different hats, different color schemes, different parameters that are called upon every single time that an enemy appears, and that makes and that creates the illusion that we have tons and tons of characters just by sort of programmatically choosing among those different like parameters and I'm going to try to show you a couple more. So for instance, I'm going to look for another one.
This one has the hat.
Fighter has the hat and the other three don't. Some of them have darker skin and some of them have like different tones of hair, and that happens with every single character. So they sort of change the color of their clothing, and they have different items and they have different things. This is going to continue improving over time. This is like the first attempt of doing this, but the idea is for us to continue doing similar stuff in the future. Yeah, go ahead if you want to answer the...
No, I think on that point too, like this is obviously the initial iteration. This is something that has been put in kind of recently, and like all things, I think the alpha is going to be the first iteration of the prototype that really starts to touch on, you know, a lot of this stuff, it's going to have, you know, it's going to have the basic implementation of all the things that we're trying to do. So what you're going to get to see is kind of the vision from that. And I think the goal there is to continue to build upon what we've created. So things like the enemy variation, the lighting, the environment, all of that is going to continue to improve over time. But this is kind of the initial stage. So to go, Mark, for your first question, the 8Mo characters are actually going to come in Alpha Phase 2, which will probably be around the end of Q1. So we're looking at probably like March. that's when we'll start pushing content related to those. It's kind of important that we are able to kind of develop the core game with the first set, and so we don't introduce potential issues with a whole new set of avatars. But those will come in a little bit later. So then, to your second question, co-op. Right now, the game is a single-player game. We are looking at and developing, designing multiplayer aspects to the ecosystem, but we haven't decided yet how those multiplayer aspects are going to potentially be worked into the game. So right now the game is single player. To beta, it'll be designed as a single player game. The purpose is for it to be a single player game, but there are, I guess I don't want to go too deep down it, but there are things that we're designing and thinking about for multiplayer aspects of it. But in the vein of not promising anything that's not built out yet, I wanna keep it at that.
So here we are again in the crossroads when you can choose the different boons or the different boosters in the round. So because I chose the agility power up in the last level, now I can actually take it and receive the boon itself. And now again I can choose between the different things. So I could choose either life or agility or haste. So let's go this time for actually agility. So here I am again in the window that you wanted to talk about, Nick.
All right, so so this you're going to see sector clear, right? So on the left is your data acquired. So if you loot something that is an NFT, which will either be for this version, there will be. Well, I won't reveal one of the things that we're going to be doing. That's going to be a surprise.
It's something super cool. I will say that.
Yeah, it is definitely cool. But yeah, the other thing you'll be able to get are these augmentations, which are what are going to allow you to make evolved items, which is something that we'll talk about a little bit. But evolved items are going to be the NFT versions of our basic items, which are what your avatar starts off with using and is able to earn. But the data that you get, so after a certain level, you can start to acquire these augmentations, which will then be able to be combined with the basic weapon and turned into an evolved weapon, which gives the evolved weapon some stats that it didn't have before that'll really help you through the run. So then I guess you can keep going. I guess you'll see here's the energy and training data as well as the avatar progress. So this avatar isn't actually progressing because it's already a level 10 avatar, which is the level cap for the alpha phase 1. But if it was a not a level 10 avatar, you would see your avatar's total data points, which is what your avatar earns, which is like experience in most games as you continue to progress through the outskirts. Yeah, so I think there's some interesting things, Dog with Hats, to your point. You can do some interesting gamification of single player games. And I think that'll be some of the earliest, other than having kind of a multiplayer environment. There's that ability to, before you have a multiplayer game, there are things you can do like time trials and, to see who can get their character to a certain level first and leaderboards. And those are, I think, going to be some of the early implementations we do to add an additional layer of, multiplayer gamification. Obviously, the economy. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we've got the upgrades at the end of the levels are animated now, which is a cool little touch. But some of the some of the player economy is obviously, multiplayer in that you're going to be able to buy, sell these NFTs within each other in a peer-to-peer way, which will allow you to upgrade your avatar and talk to people in that sense. But there are some things, like I said, in the works where we're looking at, other potential multiplayer or social, let's say, components of the game. But yeah, I think, it's roguelike games are, like Hades, for example, are often single player experiences, but like we said, there's different ways to create, multiplayer facets to a single player game. And we're currently, thinking through, and we'll definitely be, I think, getting feedback from you guys at an early stage on some of the ideas we have probably early next year, to kind of see what everyone thinks. All right, so let's see what else we got. Any other questions? So now Santi's back in. We're in Sector 4 right now. So Santi, that's the heat wave, which is pretty powerful. It just takes out. That's one of the AoE abilities. So some of the abilities are AoE abilities. Some of them have different effects. So like that one does an initial damage and then has damage over time. So the character gets burnt, or the enemy gets burnt, and over time they take damage. I think that let's see, what else can we say? Yeah, this is a good. Some of the variants in the enemies was good. I want you to get past Sector 5 and 6 so that they can see some of the other enemies we added. So
yeah, for sure.
Deeper you get into the outskirts, the more advanced some of the enemies are going to get. So you don't actually access 2 of the more advanced enemies until you get to, I think it's Sector 6. It might be Sector 5. But those enemies are pretty brutal to fight. I know that if you're not paying attention, one of them will completely take you.
Yeah, until now, everything seems like we are hyper overpowered, which we are a little bit.
Yeah.
But from here onward, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, and so that's another thing that we should touch on, is that it's kind of the nature of a roguelike game that when you begin the run, you begin at the beginning of the run, right? So theoretically, if you have a high-level avatar, your avatar is going to be overpowered in the first stages, and then like in this run, the avatar is going to get progressively stronger as you go because of the upgrades, but also the enemies are going to get progressively stronger. So as you continue to go through the sectors and get deeper and deeper in, all of the enemies scale up, and so in order to get to the last area, the outskirts, you have to beat that last sector, and that last sector is pretty difficult even for a fully scaled up avatar. So there is that, every time you run and then your avatar gets eliminated or dies, you get to you reprint, or you get that experience that through the data points that then levels up your avatar, and you're able to progress to the next round. So you guys are seeing a few of the little bugs that we still got in there, and I think that's a good opportunity to talk about that. I mean, one of the things that I think makes this super cool and interesting, both for us and for you guys, is that we are going to be releasing such an early version of this game in January, and there are going to be bugs, but there's also going to be really cool opportunities to see the game still at a stage where it's in development, that a lot of the ideas are still being thought through, and that your feedback can actually help us a lot in determining what directions we go on certain things. And one of the things that we're really going to be pushing in the new year is getting that community involvement and creating channels and methods for you guys to really help us continue to build the game and test the game. And for those of you who want to get much more involved in testing, we'll have outlets for like either training, or we'll make videos, and so that you guys can really dive in and understand some of our processes, so that when you do see a bug, you can report it the way that we'll do it so that we can fix it or whatnot. And we're going to consistently, there's going to be updates, there's going to be bug fixes, and then after this first version of the game is released, we're going to be pushing towards that second version for phase 2, which will then of course have a new gang, a new bad, a new villain, a new boss, and then the 8 Mile Army, which we're excited to get in there as well. But for now, one of the things I'm just super excited about these avatars. They're looking super cool in the game, and the game. I don't know. I kudos to the art team. I'm not an artist myself, and Senti is, of course. But every time these guys push a new environment or new avatars, I just get so excited because seeing this stuff come to life is awesome.
I think a crucial part of that, I think we have progressed a ton in the last couple of months, but I think the most exciting thing, or the moment that we are actually going to exponentially become better in the game and whatever, is with the community feedback. I think, like you were saying, one of the most exciting things of this project is sort of creating that dialect that normally doesn't exist in games, where the community is actually part of the development team and are actually super valuable feedback. So I think, so we have a flamethrower here. Sorry, I have to concentrate, otherwise I'm going to die.
You're gonna get toasted. So that's one of the new enemies.
But yeah, I think that loop between community and creators is so cool and so valuable with this project. So I'm super glad to sort of be involved in sort of creating that dialogue. So I'm super.
I don't know if we.
Yep, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, no. I was gonna point out the fallen angel, but I'm not sure if we pointed that out last time. But there's if you see the sculpture on the left, that's actually our fallen angel collaboration with Trevor Jones, and we're definitely excited to have that in here, but also to continue to collaborate with great artists like Trevor to get their art in the game, and even community art. We're going to be starting to implement that in the game. So there's a lot of exciting opportunities there too to actually be part of a community and get your touch into the game, because there's we're in the middle of development. So those things definitely are opportunities for us.
So we were talking about interactivity before. This is one of the machines where you can sort of interact. I think
you're pretty low on shield. You might want to buy buy one.
So in this window, you can sort of this machine is like the vending machine, I'm going to call it, but is the charging station where you can sort of buy and replenish your stats. In this case, the things that appear in that machine are random. So in this case, I have the chance to replenish health, replenish shield, and have a boost damage. I'm, like Nick said, I'm pretty low on shield, so I'm going to add this right here, and I'm not sure if that's enough for me to.
You might have to do it again.
I have to buy more. Replenish shield once more, and I'm out of money, so let's continue. I'm out of energy.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
How's everyone? Anyone got interesting holiday plans? Anyone traveling to somewhere cool? I want to get jealous. I'm gonna be in Colombia for New Year's, so I'm excited. I'm gonna get to see a lot of the team. Really excited to.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wish I could. I'm going to be up north in Toronto, suffering winter.
In the cold.
In the cold.
So yeah, I think it's actually evening out the playing field a little bit, because you're using the Boken, the first weapon.
Yeah.
I was looking at it, I'm like, why is this avatar not hitting them harder if we're only in sector 6? But I guess that's a good thing. The part of the way that you really progress in the game is by unlocking the new weapons and items. So obviously, as an NFT based game where items are even more important than they normally would, a lot of the progress is theoretically gated by the item. So not necessarily NFT items. You can get basic items, which are actually contained on the server. But then what's cool is when you evolve those items, they become NFTs, and so those will obviously be fully transferable. But what we're gearing up for is the potential to have certain features of the game that aren't blockchain as a requirement, so that we can use it as kind of a basic version of the game later as a way of onboarding people and bringing them in, even if they may not be blockchain educated or knowledgeable. I think creating a game that you can play even without the blockchain aspects of it, but then in order to really experience the game and understand player ownership, you'll need to actually get those blockchain features. Will some of this feed content be posted on their social media? Are you talking about? I'm not sure I understand your question, Mark. Are you asking if the Twitch stream is going to be posted on social media? Yeah, I think we'll probably post the Twitch stream on social media. Yep. That's definitely the goal. And I think what we usually do is we put it on YouTube and then embed the YouTube video in a tweet. We'll probably do that.
I'm a little bit scared. I'm going to die.
To die? Oh yeah, you're low. We're we'll take them. We can take them into the loadout screen. I think it'll be fun to choose a different avatar, and there's a couple of bugs right now in the loadout screen. So just we're working on fixing, so that we wanted to show you guys the nicer parts. But we'll show you guys some of the glitchiness too. But I think it'll be cool to show them how you can go through with the avatars and select. So maybe once you die, which will probably be pretty soon, we'll go to the loadout screen and we can show them what an evolved weapon looks like
sure.
in the game.
Oh, actually, yeah, good.
This stage you always get mobbed in. So this is like like an abandoned shopping mall, and there's always, like, as soon as you go into that room, there's like a mob of bad guys who come after you. You can see them on the mini map. All those dots are obviously the enemies, and you just see them like waiting for you. But yeah, I think this is a cool game to kind of stop and smell the roses in, because there's a lot of like little details that are on a roof or on a thing, and obviously that'll expose probably some. Yep. That's the mob I was talking about. It's easy to get killed in this room. Hard to kill the pack. But there's definitely strategies. I've now played the game enough to maybe once we release, I'll do some streams that we can do
about strategy.
Once I can figure out, of strategy and how to exploit the game. No, how to pick apart the parts that we didn't build right yet, and then we can fix them, and everybody can tell us what's wrong with it. But I think that'll be part of the fun part too. Yeah, Senti, you gotta kite him. You gotta.
Yeah, I'm going to kite them a little bit more because I'm super low on energy. So
it's okay. If you die, they get to see new content, so that's all good.
I might survive.
One thing, I was gonna say, you just did the shield ability, which makes you invulnerable for a couple seconds. And so one of the strategies, if you've got the shield ability and the heat wave, is to basically herd them up, cast the shield ability, and then if you're strong enough, heat wave them from the middle and take them all down in one go. But that only works if you're very confident with your movement, because as soon as you do it, you got to get out of that pack, or else you're just gonna get
Yeah,
mobbed.
I'm one hit away of dying, so
Yeah.
you're going to get new content soon.
Coming soon. What all right, what avatar do you guys? We'll do one more, and we'll try to do it. We'll try to use a different avatar. Do we have some suggestions on which Legionnaire you guys want to see? We'll take for the next 30 seconds. We'll take answers in the chat. So if you go in, all right. So we've got. I see we got ninja. Okay.
Everyone
Let's
wants
see
to
if
see
we
the
have
ninja?
the green ninja there. Could be cool, because I think that's a level 10 as well. Or actually, so these are all my avatars. Quite a few of the ones that I've bought. Ninja's one of my favorites. There's the ninja with the samurai helmet, but I think that one's level 1, so you won't be able to use the other stuff. But let's see.
Is there any ninja that you've sort of used, or not really?
Try the one closest to the top, the first ninja that pops up. That one on the left there, the green one with the mallet. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm a little behind you. So that's the new ninja, and let's do the evolved rusty sword. That's got some extra stats. Oh, it's working for you. That's good. And yeah, let's get the PC components set up. This time you'll smoke everything. And so just while we're in here, what you guys are seeing is obviously on the left side is where you select your avatar from all the from all the legionnaires in your wallet. When you do when you'll select that. Then you'll have your weapon, which is going to be, there's the 3 starter weapons, which are not the ones that are on the Legionnaire's back, so those are the ones you'll start with. And then you'll earn the other weapons as you fight in-game. And so the initial alpha is going to have 9 of the weapons. There'll be 9 plus the 3, I think it's 9. Yeah, it's 9 weapons. And then over time, we're going to continue to add the other ones. But what basically, if you have a weapon on one of your avatars, it'll already be, so if you don't have a weapon on your avatar, you actually need to earn the training data to unlock it. If you do have it on your avatar's back, it'll already be unlocked, but you still need to get the level requirement. So actually, Senti, why don't you show them a couple of the other avatars in the loader, and then we'll load in with. You're gonna have to reset the stats, unfortunately.
That's okay. That's okay.
But we could show maybe a cyborg or some of these other. That cowboy cyborg is pretty cool.
Yep.
There we go.
So here, for instance, you only have the possibility of choosing the basic Boken, which is the basic sword. I think you can also choose the different basic weapons. So up here you can see the different weapon types or combat proficiencies, and based on which one you choose, you can sort of choose different weapons. So bludgeoning are all the batons and the hammers and that sort of thing. Slicing is all the swords, and chopping are axes and basically axes. So you can also see that in this case each weapon has different levels of proficiency. So bludgeoning is level 1. You can sort of allocate training points into the so you can sort of evolve your proficiency level every time that you allocate training points. In this case, Nick is pretty good in slicing, which are swords, like I said, but he only has one sword for this avatar, so okay.
Because it's a level 1, so it's gated by both your proficiency level
that's true.
and your avatar level. So if you were to go and pick another, I have a couple level 10 avatars. I think some of the earlier ones, like that ninja that you were on before, I think is a level 10. So you might be able to. The assassin's pretty cool too. If you want to show them that red assassin down below.
Sure.
Real quick. For the in there. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that there's a
where you have a little bit of delay, but it's okay. So yes. Oh, it wasn't this one. I think I chose a different one. I think I chose a different.
That one's cool. I like that. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. But the ninja was that one, yeah, and that one should give you. Oh, you have to select the ninja.
Okay, I'll go back to the ninja.
Yeah, because this one I think is also level 1. They just can't see it in the stream because our
it's over here. We have the
faces
debug.
Are blocking it.
And we have our faces, but we also have the debug thing here. Okay. Evolved Rusty Sword. Heat Wave. Yeah, let's go with the Heat Wave. That's the one I like the most.
Heat Wave or Arc of Lightning? Heat Wave.
The GPU. I don't know if you want to talk about the PC components a little bit.
Yeah. So the idea with the PC components is if you think about like I won't go too deep into the lore side of it, but the way they function is somewhat like armor in a traditional RPG. The armor, on our avatars, it is essentially right now the skins, right? So we'll have these skins, and then we have the 8-mil army skins, and we are thinking of some customizable aesthetics. But the functional component is the PC component. So you have 5 PC components. They each upgrade a different aspect, but you can also make evolved PC components, which are items, obviously NFT items that, like for example, if you use a strength material on a certain PC component, it will become, a strength PC component. So it'll have the basic thing that it upgrades, but it'll also have the strength trait. So if you want to really boost your strength, you can make, 3 different, you can have strength on your weapon and your PC component. So what you're seeing here is an evolved sword on Senti's back. And so this is the best sword you will be able to get in the alpha. And you'll see it's kind of like a Satoshi technologically infused version of the Rusty Sword. And so each of the evolved weapons is kind of like the weapon itself plus tech. And once you have, if you have the weapon on your Legionnaire, that's going to allow you to craft it, as well as if you are able to earn it in the game. So, like part of it is creating something that everyone can play and earn, but you'll definitely have that advantage if you've got it on your Legionnaire, is that it's already going to be unlocked within the thing, so you don't have to spend the additional training points or training data to unlock it. You just have to get the level requirements necessary to wield it. So there's unlocking it and there's actually wielding it. And so like the Rusty Sword requires level 10. But over time, we'll start putting in the other weapons. There's definitely a plan to get the other weapons in there. It's just we had to start with this smaller set to get things out the door and to get things testing and going. But yeah, we're excited. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, but we're having fun. So yeah, so you've got, now Senti's just going to clean these guys up, because this sword does maybe like double the damage of the one he was doing, or triple the damage of what he was doing before. So now, show the right click attack, which we can do a little. So there's 2 attacks. The left click attack is kind of like a single target attack. It's mainly the ones that are in front of you. The right click attack is a little less powerful and takes a little longer to complete, but it's almost like an AoE. It attacks a much wider cone of enemies that get hit by the sword. So there's kind of some tactics too early on using that right click attack, so you can just kind of mow down groups of Shizoku and DOS. but then going to the left click attack when you get to the higher levels. So you got some training data in this one, and that's important. The training data is what allows you to upgrade things in the game. So that's an important thing. Those are both in-game resources. So the energy is run specific. So your energy will reset at the beginning of each run, but your training data gets stored on your account, which is then used within the game. But then obviously we're going to have the Satoshi's crystals, which serve a different purpose that won't actually be implemented until phase 2. So we'll have to wait a little longer to see which will be the unique weapons. You'll have evolved weapons and unique weapons. And one of the purposes of the crystals will be in order to create unique weapons, and I think that's going to add a whole another twist to the game, which will be really cool. But yeah, we've got a lot of cool stuff planned. But I guess the first of those things is getting this early version out and getting your feedback and seeing if you all love it. It's funny, I've been playing the game since it was it was a basic, just a room with an avatar fighting one bad guy, and that was only like 6 or 7 months ago, 8 months ago. And so to think that we've kind of gotten this far and it's really starting to feel like a game, it's really starting to feel like there's a progression. You guys are part of the development with us. So, normally it'd be like, oh, of course it's a game because, we've been spending 2-3 years building it. But right now it's still early and you're all kind of getting it to see it at the same time we are. This build got pushed yesterday. So it's not like, we've even, some of the things that are in this build we're seeing for the first time together, which is really cool. When you load into this room, show them this room because I think this is actually a really cool room. So there's a lot of these like little Easter egg rooms in between levels, and they've just got a bunch of stuff in them, like a bunch of really cool. I'll let you talk about this room, please. Kind of
Sure.
Cool.
So, yeah, like Nick is saying, there's a ton of little things that we wanted to show of how the world works, and the entire idea of the ambience is like sort of for you to discover how the world functions. And in this case, the outskirts themselves don't have a ton of nature as you've seen outside. So people started to grow their own crops, but in indoor farms or sorry, my English sometimes dies, but they have these indoors indoor farming areas where they can sort of grow crops. And so that's the sort of idea of this room. But yes, just like this, there's tons and tons of rooms that sort of tell stories like this. So I think, like Nick was saying, I think a cool thing to do in this game is sort of take your time and go around and sort of check things out, because I think there's a ton of details that I know the team pour in, and they're awesome.
So do we have other questions? Happy to answer any other questions that anyone has. Otherwise, we'll start to wrap it up soon. It's going to be a lot of slaying DOF and Shizuku in the next couple weeks. So I'm excited for when everybody comes back from the holidays and we can start.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see what you guys think of the game and for people to actually get their hands on this.
What do you guys think of what you're seeing? I know is it exciting? Are we going in a good direction? What do you like? What do you don't like?
Yeah, and something crucial here is actually for you guys to tell us what you don't like as well. I think a super important part of the feedback is sort of to integrate whatever comments, negative comments as well you have, so we can make the game as good as we can. So for sure, we're super open to every type of feedback.
I'm just reading all the propaganda. Poor takeout company. I had the best takeout in the city, and then they apparently went out of business. Yeah, there's a lot of little details. I mean, there's some like graffiti in there and some messages. Sometimes the artist sneaks something in, and I don't even see it. It's funny when you're walking around, you're like, "Oh, what is this poster on the wall?" And you read it, and you're like, "Oh my gosh." I'm kidding, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah,
like
I think every single artist has their footprint in the environments. So there's like a ton of little Easter eggs of just people imagining what the world would be like and sort of inputting their own ideas into it. So for sure there's a ton of little things. I don't have enough money for anything, enough energy for anything, so I'll continue.
A kick could be cool. Some sort of punch or a kick. I think that could be cool. I feel like sometimes, yeah, we definitely are going to be working on attack animations for our later version. I think we have kind of like a MVP version of our attack animations that we feel okay about. But we're definitely, one of the things that are going to be very much tuned over the next 3 months is our combat system. And so there's a lot of really cool stuff that we can do with attacks, with different combos and stuff like that. So yeah, that'll definitely actually be something we'll want to log and kind of get feedback on. If, once you're playing the game, you're like, oh, this would be really cool, or this would be really cool. I think those are the things that, it starts as an idea, and then we talk about it, and then, we figure out if it's doable or if it breaks the game or whatever. And we're not going to obviously be able to implement everything, but we want to definitely have that open forum for you guys to kind of test and
sure.
Tell us what you think.
Yeah, I think people are going to get the wrong idea about how easy the game is just because of how good these avatars are.
No, that's true. The game is very hard. Like the Senti's playing with a level 10 avatar with the best weapon, so it's not the best weapon in the alpha. So it's not, it doesn't look very challenging in the early sectors, but when you guys get in there with a level 1 avatar and the basic weapon, it's gonna definitely be a challenge to even fight these guys one-on-one. So yeah, actually, Dogma Cats, we're definitely thinking of doing something very interesting with that. I don't want to tip my hat, but we definitely want to do kind of like finishing moves with the bosses and special moments and maybe some really cool in-game cinematics. But we've got a couple ideas we're playing with internally on the design and art side that we think could be really unique. So that you'll have to stay tuned for that part. That'll probably be released if at all closer to beta. So that'll be something we've got some really cool stuff that we're developing long term for the game that we think you guys are going to really like. All right. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, I'll keep it open for a couple more minutes. We're coming up on the hour now, so we're gonna get back to work and finish up what will be probably the build that you guys are gonna see. Where we've got one more version coming today, where we're doing some bug fixes, and then I think we're gonna have a version that we're ready to go live with, pending some texting. We have to make sure it goes through the gauntlet internally, that we catch as many of the little bugs that we can. Surely there's going to be some that you guys all discover, but that's the fun part of it, and we need that help from you guys. So definitely excited. Just two weeks, guys. 2 weeks, and we're there, and we'll start showing the world what Satoshi's Legions is all about. I can't wait to start getting content creators involved and showing this to people. We just actually we got told that we're going to be speaking at NFT NYC, so that'll be cool. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in Miami for NFT Expoverse speaking, and we're looking at a couple other events around the globe to potentially speak at. But awesome, super cool to do this. Definitely think that this is just the beginning, but I think that we're proud of the progress we've been able to make, and I think the coolest thing is just like we said, getting it in your guys' hands and starting to get that feedback, which is ultimately going to make this game kind of ours, right? As a community and this project. So really excited.
Yeah, same here. I just want people to get their hands on this for sure.
Yeah, all that DOF garbage propaganda. Just ignore it. It's good to get the fallen angel there. It's a symbol of freedom. Oh, flamethrower! Don't get toasted. Oh, he's getting toasted. Oh, he got him.
No, I got him before.
All right, everyone. Before Senti dies a very public death, we'll log off and thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in today. For all of you who are going to be watching on the recording, thank you for watching. And January 10th, can't wait. And I hope that you all have a great holiday. Spend some time with your family, recharge, rest your fingers so that you're ready to test the shit out of the game when we release it. So
yeah, can't wait to hear your feedback. Thanks, everyone. Have a great year and happy holidays.
Bye, guys. See you in the Discord.